Hey, this is Seth with In Demand Career. I show people how to get life-changing jobs in digital marketing with no previous experience or education. And that includes my very special guest today, Ivy, who was working as a banquet server and doing data entry when she found my course. And after freelancing and generating her experience and following the instructions, she is now doing SEO for Crate and Barrel, making between $50,000 and $60,000 a year. Yes, Crate and Barrel. You guys all know the company. It's a big company, and this is her first SEO job. So I'm very excited to share her story with you. Thanks for being here, Ivy.
Thanks for having me. I'm so happy to talk to you again. Honestly, it's been so great.
Awesome. It's my pleasure. And I'm happy to talk to you too. So why don't you tell people a little bit about your current job?
Sure. So I started about 6 months ago. So technically I am an SEO coordinator, but I work on a team of 6 people, and I basically just learn every single day. I learn how to do on-page copy, and I learn how to really just optimize the website and just make it better so that it's visible for people that love Crate and Barrel.
That's great. And what are you making?
50 to 60K a year.
That's fantastic. That's
Mhm.
fantastic. And like I said before, I'll mention it a few times. I mean, just having, remember guys, the first job, the point of that is to leverage to the next job, and having a job at a big company like this is definitely impressive. Have you been reached out to by recruiters yet?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly still get recruiters from my LinkedIn, and they'll just pop into my email and being like, hey, like we still need like an SEO specialist or SEO strategist. But yeah, it's great. I think it's also really good to just network on LinkedIn. I think that was the most important thing when I was applying, was making my LinkedIn profile and then also networking with people. So definitely have a lot of exposure there.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll talk about more about that in a minute. But first, and we'll get more into the job. But obviously, people always want to know, what were you doing before you became an SEO coordinator? What were you doing when you found the course?
Yeah, so when I graduated out of college, so I graduated with a major in fine arts. I didn't really have that much experience on my belt. I didn't even really know Excel too well either. So it's kind of supporting myself, doing banquet serving and things like that. After I graduated, I got into a customer service or data entry job at a like small startup company. Um, it wasn't like the best experience, I guess, just because I felt like uh, I wasn't really learning too much though. But I knew that I had like kind of a passion for marketing. I just didn't specifically know what exactly that was. But yeah, I found
So,
your course on a
so they
YouTube.
said they said it was a marketing job, but you're really just doing data entry.
Well, they moved me into a marketing position, but I feel like for majority of the time I was answering calls, I was writing emails, and then like doing like any other kinds of like, I don't know, tedious jobs that like, or tedious tasks that like not really everyone wants to
Yeah, I
do.
mean, it's worth mentioning, guys, because this is what a lot of quote unquote marketing jobs are, but also this is what most college grads run into. If you guys have heard me go on and on about college for years, this is why, because you come out of school, and honestly, it wouldn't matter what you majored in. You come out of school
Yeah.
with an art major, and just like I did, you're not qualified to do anything except answer phones and put data entry. And it's fun. I actually resonated with that because that's what I worked when I got out of college. I waited tables and I did data entry, just like you.
Right. Can I say something about that though? Is that when I applied to that job out of college, I thought that this was like, this was it. Like, this is, I made, my thing. And then really going into it, I was like, wow, I don't really like this job. I don't know if I can grow past it, I guess. So I think I lost kind of like that confidence within myself.
That happens to college grads too. And again, like they said, you're almost kind of just like an intern. And a
Yeah.
lot of and a lot of marketing positions that say marketing. So that's why I teach digital marketing. And I could do a whole other video about the world of quote unquote
Right.
marketing, which could be conventional marketing. I mean, look at David, who runs his own agency now. Like he graduated with a marketing major and he was passing out flyers.
Yeah, I mean, at my university, marketing was technically communications. It wasn't even marketing though. And that's what kind of bothered me. I was just like, well, we're learning like more theoretical things versus like actual things that happen in real time. So Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, that's all I'll say. That I have the same
Mhm.
attitude. I can do, and I will. I've done other videos about, the stuff they teach in these programs is just, I mean, you just scratch your head.
Mhm.
But I just share it again because your experience, like I said, most college graduates who can find a job will work in 3 different fields: customer service, sales, or administrative, i.e., office jobs. And again,
Yeah.
that's what I did in my 20s. Because literally, I go to the temp agency. I was like, what do you know how to do? They said, like, what do you
Right.
know how to do? And other than like find the hypotenuse of a right triangle.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell people, what it was like, how you found the course and what it was like taking the course?
Sure. So I think after the pandemic, after my job working at data entry, I really wanted to get my feet wet in marketing. I didn't really know, what kind of realm it is because I was so new to it. And so I was looking up like digital marketing degrees or digital marketing certificates, and then just so happened to like find your YouTube channel somehow. And so yeah, that's kind of how I came about it. Um, I also watched a ton of testimonials that you did, and it was super helpful. I was kind of like, oh no, like, should I like bite the bullet right now? Like, should I put money towards this? But I think the reason or like why I gave myself so much motivation is because not only did I see other people do it, but I knew that I was at least going to walk away with some information that was going to help me. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm
yeah.
glad you said that. And I appreciate, that's why I do these testimonials, because I just want people
Yeah.
to, and
No,
why
they're
I
super
make,
helpful. Mm-hmm.
yeah, and why I make them so long is so people can, get a real sense of the person and that it's actually possible, and hear how it happened for them. So you got into the course and,
Mm-hmm.
then what happened?
So I was trying to study, I was taking notes, but I think how I really learned and how I kind of understood more is making my own website. So I did the blog. I actually started like the makeup blog through, I think, WordPress or something. And then from there, I was just telling my parents, like, oh, yeah, like I'm doing this thing. And then it so happened that their friend was doing PPC, but then I was doing SEO. So I was writing like blog content for them. And then word got around that I was doing SEO. And then I became a freelancer for a little bit.
That's great. And so did you initially, it sounds like well, you were drawn to SEO. And what
Yes.
what drew you to SEO? I mean, I know we talk a lot about the
Sure.
how people got the job, but like
Yeah.
people always want to know also about the specific jobs. Why were you drawn to SEO versus PPC?
Well, that's a good question. I would say originally I was very in tune with PPC, but I think kind of understanding like SEO and how it's relative to like UX design, how it's relative to like understanding landing pages. And then I got a sense of how to write copy, not so much in like a school kind of essay way, but more of what does the user want and like how are we going to add that on the website to give value to them. So I think in a way, when I was a freelancer and I was working for like small businesses and like trying to gain traffic, that was kind of the reason why I loved SEO is because I felt like I was helping people. I was helping people who didn't have that opportunity to gain visibility. So that's why I stuck with it.
That's interesting. And I'll just elaborate,
Yeah.
guys, because I think that's really great explanation. And also, yeah, sometimes in these interviews, I don't get into the work that much. We talk more about people's experience, but I thought it was interesting because
Mhm.
people, do ask me like SEO, by the way, if you haven't taken the course, it's search engine optimization. It's making changes to people's websites so they appear higher in Google's organic free search
Yeah.
results. And
Mhm.
PPC is pay per click. That's when people, all the paying for traffic, essentially paying paid ads. And there's tons of jobs in both of those skill sets. But SEO, so you like to write, it sounds like. I mean, imagine you must like to write in some way.
I didn't actually used to like to write, but I think I really liked writing when I felt like I was able to understand more of a purpose versus kind of I was used to writing essays so much that that's when I didn't like writing, I think.
I can
Um,
totally relate to that, guys. By the way, when I found SEO and PPC in 2010, I,
mhm.
because I had been burned out like everyone else by this terrible academic school writing. You're writing an essay, it's nonsense.
Right.
You don't care about what you're writing about. You're writing about things nobody cares about, and it's written in a
Yeah.
style that nobody can even read. But with SEO, the whole point is to communicate to other human beings in a compelling way, and it's a lot more lively.
Right. Right. I think it's also like more relevant, like whatever you're writing, whether it's just regular copywriting or SEO copy, like you're writing stuff that they can relate to or they're actually searching for. So yeah, that's why
that is another huge thing. That's another reason people ask, why do people like digital marketing so much? For me, the fact that you're actually, again, you're getting engagement. Like you're not, again, it's not like all those essays you wrote in high school are put in a box somewhere. No one cares. But you write an article on a blog, people could be reading that. Even if 5 or 10 or 20 people read it, that's a lot. That's probably more people than have read your stuff before. And also, and the other aspect that it sounds like is that, I mean, the with local SEO, especially, I mean, the idea that you can get free traffic is very enticing to small businesses.
Yes. Local SEO is definitely a big thing when I was doing freelancing, and I still learn that to this day, but I think I really have honed down on like optimizing like more in depth, I feel like, and I learn every day, so it's great.
Yeah. And especially, well, we'll get to your job in a moment. So yeah, let's take people through. So you talk about freelancing. So you had some clients, and did you get these clients primarily through your own outreach, or was it through your own community? Or
yeah. So I did word of mouth pretty much. I was just I knew people that were starting businesses. I knew my friend that kind of was starting his agency. And for him, he was more so specific to social media, but he knew clients that were looking to build traffic to their site and they didn't really know how. So that's how I leveraged or gained a little bit more experience and gain a little bit more confidence in what I was doing. Yeah, so I was doing that for a while. And then I also actually dabbled with Upwork, and I had one client from there too. So that was a really interesting thing, is like, not only are you doing SEO, but you're kind of like running your own business in a way, like understanding the business aspect too. So that was a really interesting experience for me.
Yeah, it's really, you are running your own business, and it is your own learning curve. And it's cool because it sounds like you're drawn to freelancing at first. And so how did you transition from freelancing and, getting paid clients to then getting this job?
Yeah. So I guess when I don't know how to say transition. I think I was really just looking for a mentor, someone who had just way more experience than I did, because I really wanted to tackle more specific to SEO versus the business side. I do still love freelancing, but I think I was just like, I really want to be good at my job. I want to know more than what I know now. And I think sometimes I couldn't teach myself everything, or didn't have like that opportunity to handle like such a huge website sometimes. So that's kind of why I was looking to apply to jobs. And it was great. I leveraged LinkedIn so much. It was super helpful for me.
So and that's, like I say, in these jobs, you're going to get training 99% of these jobs. Some of them won't. Actually, most of them will. Most of them. I'm trying to think of examples where they don't. I mean, again, they're not going to hand you, a business isn't just going to hand you a huge account without some kind of support system. Even, I even had students who, even if they've already managed a lot of, whether it's an SEO client or a PPC client, they'll still get training and support. But what you're describing, what I talk about in the course, is that first job is not just for money, it's also to get more experience and more, you're connecting with other experts, people who have worked there longer than you, get into much more advanced SEO and keep leveling up your skill set. But to that point, obviously you'd had enough knowledge and expertise to get clients and to help them get results, right?
Yeah. I think what I will say is, when I was interviewing, and I think the reason why I got the job was not because I had I only had like a little bit less than a year of experience doing it. But I think the reason why she chose me was my curiosity and my just willingness to learn. And I remember we were talking about my previous interview with her, and she was like, yeah, you're like the only person that talked about Instagram SEO. And I think it's just because I'm just curious to know how SEO runs with different realms and why I'm passionate about doing it. So
there you go, guys. Again and again, it's that passion, that excitement. Not in a vacuum, she had the SEO experience and knowledge on top of the passion. So getting into the interview, so like, how did you get this interview with Crate and Barrel? Like, did you apply on LinkedIn, or was it through some kind of recruiter? Like, what happened?
Yeah, I applied on LinkedIn, and I also SEO'd my resume. So I optimized my resume. So that was another thing too. But yeah, I just applied, but there were other jobs or other interviews that I did receive. And this was only because I reached out through networking, and I told them, hey, I'm interested in this company, whatever. And they were able to refer me. So that was another thing that I learned while I was applying to jobs.
But when you mean through networking exactly? Like, did you reach out to recruiters, or people you?
So for an example, like there was a job that I wanted to work at, a tech job. And so I knew someone that I could just reach out to, not a recruiter, but someone who already works there, someone who works in that specific field. And I was like, oh, I'm really interested in like kind of understanding what's the dynamic of that company, or like, I don't know, just showing that I'm interested in the company. So I already got referred, or we just had kind of like a one-on-one meeting to understand where I am. But I had,
referred
sorry,
you
go
over
ahead.
to the hiring person?
Yeah. So once you kind of get referred, or you know someone, they just pass on your resume so much more versus you actually applying and having to jump through a little bit more hoops. So that's kind of what I learned through there.
It's definitely, there's such a big network with the course. I've had students, like one student just got hired in an agency through another student who helped advocate for them. And that's definitely a great approach. And I still encourage people, obviously, to go through the application process as well, right, because you may not know somebody at the specific company you want to work at.
Yeah, no, you definitely.
So with Crate and Barrel, did you know someone there, or how did you end up?
I didn't know anyone there. I honestly just made sure that my LinkedIn was really good. I made sure that I understood kind of what the job recommendations were, what kind of the skills that you need, and just see how relevant I can add that onto my resume, or highlight that in a way where it's relevant to them. So,
and that, guys, that's what I teach in the course. It's right there. It's funny to me because sometimes there's so much information in the course, and so I think sometimes people get a little overwhelmed. So I tell people, like, take your time, but I mean, whether you're in the course or not, like the general advice is customize your resume. Because people even have sent me, and I can appreciate it, like you might have made a specific resume for SEO or PPC, like I show in the course, but you don't want to just send out that at one resume to all these jobs. You got to look at the job posting, and then it's a wish list, basically, right? They're like, we need,
right. You can't have everything, but at least like have like, maybe like 70%, and then also just like kind of show your personality once you do the interview.
Yeah. And that's, something else I teach in the course is we're really trying to help people to relax. But in your case, it sounded to me like, and I remember emailing with you a few times, that you were a person, which a lot of people, you just needed to get that confidence.
Yeah.
You could have been applying for jobs right away, or within a couple of months of what you're doing. But you did something else a lot of people do, which is you got clients, you got experience. By the time you interviewed at Crate and Barrel, I know your confidence level was very high. So what was it like at, how did the interview go?
I think it went pretty good, to be honest.
Obviously.
I think I had there's definitely a lot of rounds for the interview. I'm not gonna lie, but
a lot of what?
It was great. A lot of rounds, like steps.
Oh, rounds.
I think. Yes, sorry. Yeah, just to meet the team and everything, kind of just get an understanding of where my background is in SEO. But it's great, and I think it's just because I enjoy talking to people, and I like to share, why I like SEO, and I think that's kind of why I got here, I guess.
Guys, you've heard it. If you're in the course, rewatch the interview section. She nerded out. This is what I'm
nerded out. Yep.
Nerded out. That's it. It's when, and again, and I say this to other, whether you're in my course or not, this is my general advice, is that you want to find something you have a genuine passion for. which I know isn't the easiest thing for like, yeah, if you, I don't know if you're going to be an accountant or something. I mean, hopefully you have a passion for accounting or, but with marketing or SEO, a lot of people find themselves passionate about it, which I think is, you know, this thing got me into it to begin with. And when I had my first job interview, I just rambled, you know, we just talked for 2 hours about all the different stuff I had learned about paid advertising, SEO, affiliate marketing, email marketing, just the whole thing. And we just, it wasn't a single real thought of like, well, you know, it wasn't like a real formal thing in the interview. The important thing was the passion and the ability to show your knowledge. And that's how I try to get people who think of themselves as introverted, which I think introversion is a state of mind myself, because you guys wouldn't even believe this about me, but I can be an introvert. Can you believe this guy who like rambles on YouTube? Yes, like sometimes I go out in public and I am like shy in that situation. But then there's other situations where I'm completely outgoing. And I believe that if you label yourself as an introvert, you're kind of limiting yourself, because you could, it's like what I say in the course, and I'll just say it here, is that everybody has a topic that they're passionate about. It could be a sport, it could be a movie, it could be a musician. And a person who's introverted will forget that they're introverted.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Because you just get so into it. And that's what I'm trying to inspire in you guys when you go into the interviews. You're not like overthinking, you just walk in, it's like somebody asks you about, you know, the latest algorithm update, and you're like, oh yeah, that's so crazy, and you know, this and that. So what was it like? Like how many, like, so you went through all these rounds of interviews, and like what happened like in different rounds? Like did they give you like a technical test, or was it just about, you know, your personality?
I think a little bit of both, to be honest. But I think what they were really looking for is just someone who's just willing to learn. Honestly, that's all I could really say about the interview. But I feel like it was very conversational. I didn't feel super nervous because, I mean, like we were already in the interview, so there is some interest there. And I think, again, just if you have kind of that like camaraderie with the person that you're talking to, it's a little bit easier, especially when they love SEO as much as you do. So
yeah, that's your point of commonality. And again, willingness to learn. Again, I just distinguish this: willingness to learn plus experience and knowledge. Because some people get confused and they think if you'd shown up right out of art school, you wouldn't have gotten the job. It doesn't matter how. And this is something I talk about too, is that there are, like I said, in my webinar, I say there's like 10% of those positions are what I call like unicorn positions, where you could walk off the street and you don't even know what Google ads are. And they're just like, we just need someone with a great attitude and we'll teach you everything from the ground up. And that's not what I teach. What I teach in the course is exactly what you're describing, which is that you have this minimal experience, you know, or, you know, a little bit of experience and knowledge, and that's enough to boost you into the, you know, where they'll hire you and teach you more. But a lot of people get caught up in these soft skills, which are important, but I'm like, you know, it doesn't matter how personable you are. If you know what SEO is, I mean, how are they gonna, they're gonna teach like everything from the ground up? Probably not, especially at a big company. So, so you got hired. What was it like to actually get hired and get the offer letter and everything?
It was great. Honestly, I got myself dinner afterwards because I was like so excited about it. Everything moved honestly really quickly. Like I learned once I started that day, it was just like training day. But that's the thing though. I think that's the thing that I enjoy the most about my job is like, even though I'm now 6 months in, everyone learns everything. Like it's not like just because you just started that now you're like the new person. It's like everyone has questions, everyone's supportive, and you know, we all kind of want us to have that same knowledge, whether you're a senior or whether you're just a beginner. So yeah.
It sounds like a really good culture. And again, you guys have heard this in a lot of these interviews. This is in a good company, a good digital marketing culture. And so this is a big company, and they're doing all their SEO in-house because you work actually for Crate and Barrel. And so what was it like in the very beginning? Like you showed up, you had your freelance experience. Did they provide you with some training? Did they throw a bunch of tasks at you that you didn't, like were like, oh my God, I don't know what to do?
So we had training sessions actually every week. And so we kind of have like, I mean, they were throwing tasks at me, but they were supportive. They were just like, if you have any questions, let me know. I can go over this with you. It wasn't like one of those things where here you go. Now you just got to go do it. Because
Yeah,
they still understood, they understood like, even though maybe I had a year of experience, that there's always going to be some questions or there's always going to be something that you maybe need to go more in depth with. So
absolutely. And you, again, your year of experience was working by yourself, so you didn't have anyone, mentoring you.
right.
Other than what you learned in, well, I mean, you had me and
Other
Dave,
than you. Other
Xavier,
than you.
but like on the job.
Yes,
Um,
on the job. Yeah.
and what was I going to say? And so this is a remote position, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
what's your day to day like? And what's the, like, it sounds like the culture is very supportive. Like, I mean, is it fun? Is it flexible? Do you have some freedom?
Honestly, yeah, I have a good amount of freedom. I would say my day-to-day is not super strict as long as I can kind of just get my work done. But we kind of have just like ongoing campaigns that we do, ongoing projects. Yeah, and like just with SEO, you're always really just trying to improve, you're trying to be better. But as far as like my day-to-day goes, I talk to my coworkers every single day, not in like oh, you have to do this, but more of just like, do I have questions or can I answer their questions kind of thing. But yeah, that's kind of my day. I can go like more in depth into about what I do if that's what you want. But that's kind of how my day-to-day is really.
I think maybe inside the members area, we talk more about what you do. I've been trying to make more videos like these interviews. I want to give people a general idea of things. But again, if we get into
Yeah.
the actual SEO concepts, that's a bit beyond
Mhm.
what, first of all, most people don't even know what SEO is. Um,
Right. Right.
but I think what you shared was very good. And you're based in LA? Is the rest of the team in LA? Or are they all over the
No.
country?
They are in the Midwest. So they are 2 hours before me. So I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to work and then I end at like three-ish.
Wow.
Um, But I mean, back to what you were saying, like as far as day to day goes, we get to, which I think is like also the most exciting part, is I get to be involved with other teams. So PPC, people that are doing brand marketing, UX design, analytics, things like that. So we're really involved in a lot of stuff too. It's not just like SEO and then that's it. It's like, how are we going to grow as a company together?
That's really great. And that's like,
Yeah, that's
that's
cool.
missing in some companies that are not, together. Everybody's working together. That's really important too, because obviously a PPC, if they're, running ads, they got to make sure that the landing pages are great and
Yep.
everything works together. So that sounds like a really good culture. In general, how has your life changed since you got this job? Like, how do you feel, or like, what is your
Yeah.
family think?
My family, well, for one, my parents are very into me going to become a nurse. So they were kind of like, I don't even know what SEO is, but just the fact that they know that I'm working for a big company, they're excited for me. Um, but as far as like how my life has changed, I mean, I definitely feel financially stable. I like can't lie. Like financially stable, but I also feel like I'm constantly learning. So that's really helpful for me. And I feel confident knowing that I'm on a good path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I mean, you pretty much said it very well.
Thank
That's how I
you.
felt when I got my first job. Cause I also said, I had worked all these crappy jobs like data entry and waiting,
Yeah.
which
Hmm.
it's just not stimulating. And you feel like
Yeah.
you're just a robot. And
Right. I feel like before this, I mean, before even like freelancing, I feel like I was really lost um after I graduated, just because like I had no idea how I was going to get a job and then have it be, financially stable, right? So yeah, I mean, I have that confidence now just because I know that digital marketing isn't really something that goes away. It just keeps continuing to grow. So
I think you said it like perfectly. That's a soundbite I could use, which is like, After college, I had no idea how to get a job or be financially stable. Like, that's the problem.
But it's the truth though, and it's just so terrible because I mean, like great for us because I mean we're already doing digital marketing, things like that. But it's so frustrating because when I went to school, there was no digital marketing course. You know, if I went back in time and they had digital marketing for 100%, I would have taken it. So yeah,
And
I
you would
think
have
that's kind
learned
of
very little, but you would have,
yeah, yeah,
I think it's crazy, guys, as there are digital marketing programs and they're taught just as poorly as everything else in college. They're usually outdated, conceptual. They use textbooks, which is a silly idea because everything moves so quickly in this industry. But
right.
the most thing is that it's just not practical when it's taught in an academic environment. I mean, if you find like, Udacity is like, it's still not as good as my course. And I'm not saying that to be self-congratulatory. I'm just saying, look, I have more results and more testimonials like you versus Udacity, where I've had people come to me after Udacity and they have these like crazy long PDF files and they're like, how do I get a job? And I'm like, they didn't teach you the job part. Like, no. I'm like, they definitely in digital marketing degree program don't talk about the job. They're
Yeah,
throw some
yeah,
knowledge at you and say, oh, this is what SEO is and this is what PPC is, and who knows how accurate it is.
right.
But in general, what we're describing is, the pressure to go to college. And then from your family, I think it's interesting because it is very common, isn't it, in
It's
Filipino?
common. It's common. I don't know if it's common all over Asian culture. I feel like my friends have had the same kind of experiences as me. Um, but as far as my family goes, yeah, they weren't super supportive about me doing anything like creative. And they didn't really know about digital marketing either.
How did
So
they let you major in art?
they didn't. I just did it on my own whim. I just was like, I was honestly thinking I need to graduate soon because I wanted to just get school over with. So I accelerated my graduation by taking like a full course load of art classes. And then, yeah, and then I graduated.
And did they pay for college or did you take out loans?
I took out loans. I took out loans. Yep.
Right. And how old were you when you signed for these loans?
I was 22. I was
Okay.
22. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the other aspect. Like, you're 22, like you don't know anything and now you're taking out debt.
Right. And it doesn't feel good either because then you come out of it and you're like, well, now I don't have a job and now I have debt. So,
Right.
yeah.
That's why I keep making these videos and talking
Right.
about it as much as I possibly can. But you're up against a social force. The culture has been brainwashed to believe that it's smart to make a 22-year-old take out a loan like this.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with that kind of mass psychosis, it's very hard to talk facts. So the only thing I can do and what I'm really happy for you about is the fact that you got these skills and now you have a career. You're at the very beginning of your career. You will be able to pay off those loans and support yourself. And, you're in your 6 months. I mean, you're going to be making a lot more money and you have the passion. I mean, that's really also the other thing is that, it sounds like you're excited to go to work every day or to log on to your computer every day.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. And I'm really happy for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So thanks for sharing your story, Ivy. Is there anything else you want to say to me or anyone watching the video before we wrap it up?
Sure. Yeah, I feel like I've just messaged you about this before, but I like honestly really just appreciate you helping me. And even though I know that you get like a ton of messages on LinkedIn and stuff, but I really seriously just appreciate the support. And I think while I was doing it, I just needed that confidence to really just try and just put myself out there and hope for the best. And it was super helpful. And as far as like anyone else is watching it, I would just say the same thing. Like, you don't have to be 100% perfect about everything. Like, if you have the knowledge and if you're curious and passionate about it, I think that will take you very far. So that's what I will say. Yeah.
Awesome, Ivy. And it's my pleasure. And you're speaking. I mean, we did correspond a bit when you were in the course, right?
You're very like encouraging to be like, you should do your LinkedIn, you need to work on your resume, get some like HubSpot things going on. Yeah, so I did all that and it was very helpful. I can't say enough about like networking and like really catering the resume to that specific company that you're trying to apply for. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, I'm happy to help, guys. And I know some of you guys, I mean, even when I was in my 20s, I mean, like sometimes you need, it's very helpful to just get that encouragement. And that's why I like to provide it. And also you mentioned that you were, you became friends with some other people in the course, right? And you were like,
Yeah.
you were like supporting each other.
Yeah, so we would have, I don't do this now because I think I got really busy. But before, when I was kind of just going through the course, we had like a Saturday morning meeting for like a month or two. And then I kind of was talking to other alumni, like I talked to Cindy a couple times, and then I talked to Drayshawn, which I still continue to do so. So it's just nice. It's nice to talk to people that have had very similar experience as you, and then maybe not so similar, and you kind of can just relate to that. And everyone on at least the Facebook group has been super supportive.
Yeah. I'm so happy to hear that. And guys, yeah, I think it's something that's very unique. You know, the Facebook group and the community, you know, this isn't like just my show. I mean, it's like this is all organic groups of people that came together through the course, but the community grew in ways I didn't predict and that I don't control. And it's really wonderful because I've had people help each other get jobs, but also friendships. I mean, I was messaging with a student who got a job recently. I mean, and he's mentioning students like, oh yeah, I connected with this person, this person, this person. I'm like, I don't even know who that is because so many people have taken the course. But the fact that you're making friends, I mean, honestly, that, like I said, that's what you're, you know, that's supposedly the reason you go to college and pay all this money. But really, you just go and meet other young people who don't know what they're doing. But in this case, you can meet professional connections and friends. And I'm really happy that you were able to benefit from that. And I appreciate you coming back into the Facebook group and staying connected.
Yeah, I like to like just like pop in every now and again.
Yeah. Can people reach out to you on LinkedIn if they have any questions?
Yeah, for sure. I usually, I mean, aside from like that conversations that we had like 3 months ago, yeah, I'm more open to just talking on LinkedIn, or like my Facebook is there too. I'm also in the group chat. I'm not group chat, but the group as well. So yeah, definitely reach out if you have questions or just want to say something.
Cool. I'll do that. I'll put your LinkedIn and any other links you want me to share under the video. Sure. And again, thanks for sharing your story. I'm super happy for you. We'll definitely do a follow-up in the future. And cool. Yeah, we'll talk soon.
Cool. Thank you, Seth. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.